معاركنا معهم وسنمضي جموعا نردعهم ونعيد.
In the month of Ramadan, specifically on the 27th night, one of the greatest battles that took place in the history of Islam. In fact, one of the first battles that took place. A battle known as the Battle of Badr, also being described as Badr al-Furqan, the decisive battle in which on one side you had 313 Sahaba fighting alongside Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam against an army of over 1,000. One of the very important lessons that we can gain in this specific battle is how there's mu'jizat, how these miracles, they manifested in this particular battle. During one of the episodes in this battle, one Sahabi, he said, I was chasing a mushrik. I was chasing a mushrik with my weapon. And when I saw him, I found him dead on the floor and he had complete whip marks on his face, completely green. He said, it wasn't me, Ya Rasulullah. It wasn't me, I only had, this weapon or that weapon. How is it that this person's face, it could be completely turned green? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, indeed, it was not you. It was those jundullah. This reliance that you find in the month of Ramadan, look how it was manifested during the time of the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inside, specifically the month of Ramadan, inside the Battle of Badr. Because there is a great lesson in which we can gain from this, where you find forces and many different nations gathering against the Muslim Ummah today. For example, the army of Bashar al-Assad inside Syria, or the Israelis against the Muslims inside Palestine, or the occupying forces, the coalition troops against the Muslims inside Afghanistan. You'll find that inside this month, which is also the month of Ibadah, is also the month of Dua. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, ad-dua huwa al-ibadah. There is nothing that can shield us from making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal and asking Allah Azza wa Jal for victory for the Muslims wherever they are. And for the Muslims to be aided via food, via clothing, via shelter, by whatever means, whatever it is the Muslims they're in need of, this is the month of dua. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, 3 people, their dua, it has no shield. Those people who are the oppressed, and amongst them he mentioned was those people who are the fasting people. So whilst we're fasting in the month of Ramadan, what are you and me going to be making dua for? We're going to be making dua that my son, maybe he passes his exams. We're going to be making dua that our daughters, that they cover themselves. But what about those daughters who are not able to cover themselves? Why? Because of the persecution that they face. What about those brothers who are not able to open their fast with any date, or with biryanis and rice and chicken and all of this nice luxuries that we in the West, we take advantage of? So in this month of Ramadan, don't forget those weak and don't forget those oppressed.